Guys, welcome to My Guy Reviews. Unfortunately, this is like an intro to the main episode. We had to redo because our pitch, as you'll understand when we get into the actual podcast, we had to... It got taken away. We were pitching some ideas in this episode. My God Monkey was coming up with some great ideas about how we would save the Universal Monsters, shared universe thanks to the help of the Invisible Man. Unfortunately, the whole recording disappeared, or we think Universal has stopped us from publishing that. Not really, but yes. But I hope you still enjoy the rest of the episode. As always, subscribe, tell a friend, and all that cool jazz. And yeah, now, on with the show!
No, it's me that's talking.
Brilliant.
Welcome to
My Guy Reviews, the podcast. Guys, welcome to My Guy Reviews, the podcast. I am My Guy Brig. Today I'm joined by My Guy Monkey.
Hello.
He's back. Hey, he's finally here. It's finally happened again. We've done another podcast.
Yes, it's been a little while. We've had a short gap on it. Sorry about that.
No, there's always something coming up. But yes, so we're back. Should we talk about the virus that's pretty much wiping out the whole planet, or just ignore that, get straight to the topic?
What the T virus?
Yeah, so the Resident Evil T virus has now spread across the world.
I heard about that. Yeah, it started in Asia somewhere, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also because we've left Europe now, it shouldn't affect us.
Oh yes.
Because it's not allowed to come over. Yeah, the United Kingdom is not allowed to come over anymore. It needs to go through immigration.
It doesn't seem to have worked because we've got more here than Europe. We've got more
We do.
affected here than Europe. What happened?
I know, it's weird, right? We're a little island. We've left the whole of the European Union, and for some reason, it's still attacked us. Damn you, virus! So
I've had the virus for about 4 weeks. So.
Oh yes.
And I
to
live
celebrate
right next
this, I know. What was fascinating? I was reading this thing about in Italy. There's certain areas where they've quarantined whole villages and whole kind of areas. So it just makes you think, if that came over here in this country, I don't know how we would be able to implement that. Like how would you stop everyone from leaving a city or a location?
Yeah, we're interconnected by public transport, so trains and that.
Exactly.
It'd be hard to cut it off.
As soon as it gets to somewhere like central London, because there's so many people from outside of London who work there, who come in and out of the tube system, it will pretty much spread throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
Even though our railway system is one of the worst and it's most unreliable.
Antiquated rails.
Other than that, yeah, we'd all have it. So our topic this week is not... So on our podcast, we normally come up with a topic idea, and it's not to do with the T virus.
Resident Evil, no?
The Resident Evil. I should have done that. You know? This podcast is kind of... but instead, this episode, I'm calling it My Guy Monkey, the pitch.
Okay.
So you're gonna do some elevated pitches. Now, you have, as always, when we do a podcast, one person comes up with the topic idea. In this case, it's me, and the other person has no concept of what's going on. And I've blindsided you again with an idea that you have no idea about. And it hopefully goes down really well, because you'll have to think of this off the cuff, or it goes down terribly bad.
I'm brain dead, so I don't know how it'll go. We'll see.
Okay, so first we're going to just talk about do two quick reviews off the top, and then we'll get into the topic. So obviously you saw Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. It's one of the biggest video game franchise movies of all time so far. It's also got like best reviews and stuff. Based on all the other films you've seen so far, is this the best video game movie ever made?
No.
Oh,
simple as no.
Simple.
No.
Okay.
I was really excited for it,
yes.
But it's okay. That's all it is. It's okay. Obviously it's Sonic the Hedgehog. He's such a big icon. He's got a big crowd draw. And I think films these days, they go more for the crowd draw rather than necessarily the best movie. Like whatever brings the crowd in, and then they can say, yes, we've got all these views, all these people have come and watched the movie, but people watch it based on the draw rather than the actual movie. So I think kids are just going to love this film all the time because, Sonic the Hedgehog, they just get so hyped up for it, I think, because even though it's a mixed bag on the games, his image and his character is so strong. But the movie itself is okay. That's all. It's like. Jim Carrey is brilliant in it, obviously, as Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah.
And the other actors are okay. It's just some of the acting with the CGI looked a bit off, and I think it's mostly down to the character's wife in the movie. I don't know what her name is, but she kind of looks off camera in a bit of a weird way. And from what I've seen from some what's it called, interviews with the cast and that,
yes.
I don't think they got a lot of direction in terms of where they should look when they're talking to the
put
CGI.
Sonic down. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I heard something later on where there were things that they could look at, but then the first things I was hearing was there wasn't a lot of guidance, and actually the actors had to put in their own sort of perseverance and their own efforts to make sure that they had good eyes onto Sonic and things like that. So it feels a bit weaker by the end, I think. I mean, but it starts off fairly strong, and it's an interesting look at Sonic before the original franchise. It's kind of like a back to roots, sort of thing. Sonic looks okay, kind of cute. Yeah,
that's it. He looks all right. But yeah, it's doing really well. People are loving it, and people keep talking about how good it is in terms of comic book adaptation turning to film. So I haven't seen the film. Without spoiling it, does it have a lot of video game elements to it? So were you like, yeah, that was cool because there's a ring he caught or whatever?
I didn't really notice much. There are apparently a lot of references to things, like in Sonic has his own room in the movie. Which has got lots of reference in it, and there's the occasional callback with music, which you'll recognise if you've played the games. But apart from that, I can't say there really is. I mean, it's good characterization of Sonic. I think Sonic's been done well, and I think the main human that interacts with him does a good job as well. And obviously Dr. Robotnik comes off really well as well.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's done a great job, everyone says.
Yeah, he's always great though in what he does. He's enthusiastic and always brings something to the table.
So based on your normal rating scale, where do you rate this one?
Yeah. This is out of 4 stars.
Yeah.
What's our rating scale again? It's 4 stars. Go see it.
Yes.
3 stars. Pay for it.
Paper, like, so on video on demand or DVD, Blu-ray or something. 2 stars, watch on the streaming service because you already own a streaming service. And the last one is always forget about it. Don't even bother.
Well, I think if you're a Sonic fan, then 3 stars.
And now, so the first pitch that you're going to give me is, where do you take the sequel? So this episode is called The Pitch. So we're going to talk about another film next, and there's a bigger pitch that you need to do. But for this one, give me your elevated pitch. Where does the sequel go from here? Who do you introduce? What new characters or anything you could think of? Where would you take it next?
Okay, so spoilers for the movie. Only Sonic appears in the movie until the very end.
Yeah.
Where there is a little cameo from Tails right at the end. So that's what we've got so far. So I'm guessing we're going to have Tails involved. But who knows really? I mean, well, we've got set up already. I mean, this is going into spoilers for the movie already. But
that's fine.
by the
Spoil
end,
the film.
Spoilers for the end of the movie.
3 weeks now.
Yeah, you should have seen it by now. 3 weeks, come on. That's like a lifetime. It's like it's been on every Christmas since last week. So, so Robotnik has been banished to the Mushroom Kingdom, Mushroom Planet, which is basically the most boring planet that Sonic could have ended up at. Which, oh yeah, and you were asking last episode about the use of the rings.
Yes.
And they're very much used in this. I don't know if there is any lore that comes up in the later games that I don't know about, but the rings are used for teleportation in this one. So he's got a little bag of rings. That's how he gets from Green Hill or Emerald Hill, whatever they decide to call it, where his homeland, to Earth, and then he can use them to sort of zip about to all sorts of places within Earth, or even to these other planets. So the Mushroom Kingdom is like, well, it's not really the Mushroom Kingdom. I think that's Mario.
Yeah.
But it's a mushroom planet, and it's literally just giant mushrooms. So you've got Dr. Robotnik is there now. He's been banished there. He manages to banish him, which means he's now going to be coming up with all sorts of crazy new technology to get back at Sonic. So we've kind of got the setup already of where it's going to go. So I definitely think Jim Carrey will be coming back. From what I've seen him talking about, he's definitely on board with the film, and he definitely wants to bring more to the Dr. Robotnik character. So you're going to have Dr. Robotnik, you're going to have Sonic and Tails.
Yes, the team up we always wanted.
You know what? Sonic 2 in the video games was just Tails arrived and that was about it. But I think they should fast forward it to Sonic 3. I think it would be great to see Knuckles. Yeah, I think why not jump straight to Robotnik using Knuckles.
Oh yes, I like it.
Just like Sonic 3 game. So using Knuckles, tricking him. Sonic has to go off to whatever planet he's on, defending the Master Emerald. And yeah, you get a lot more CGI then. But I think you're going to have to base a lot of it on Earth as well, though. So it's going to have to do some teleportation, because without having it on Earth, you don't have that comparison of that reality. You don't want it all to be CGI. It's all about having the real world with what great CGI we can include into it now. So yeah, I'd go for that. Are you sold for that?
Yeah, I like that. I think bringing in more people. I thought you might say chuck in another Sega character, someone off board, so a completely different random character. I don't know.
Alex Kidd, of course. I mean, Alex Kidd was their mascot before Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, so just a callback to someone else as well. That'd be quite cool. Maybe they run past a arcade that's got Wreck-It Ralph in.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, that was a real arcade machine back in the day.
It was, yeah. Oh, no, that sounds good. Now, I quite like the idea of Sonic 2 now, based on what you've just said there. You sold it to me. So I've just got just going to have to take a little break because I've got Boiler Man who's come to fix our radiators.
Okay.
And I just need to go speak to him. So we'll come back and we'll do pitch number 2 for movie number 2, which you haven't seen. And you're going to have to do a complete new pitch. Okay.
Okay, back in 2 minutes.
Back in 2. Okay, and we're back. That's boiler talk done.
Excellent.
Excellent. For now, he might call again. I don't know. In this country, we're currently in winter, and this is the only time of the year when your boiler breaks down. It never breaks down during the summer. Never breaks down when you don't need it as much. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but it's getting fixed.
Excellent.
I hope.
So
now, the second part of the episode is I'll do another review of another film, and then you're going to do another pitch. So we did the Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's the one I watched.
That's the one you watched. That's the one, and then you did your elevated pitch for where they should take it for number 2. Mm. So now we're going to talk about another film. So we're in the first week of March. So up until now, there's been maybe about 9 weekends in US box office terms. And in that time, I think there's been about 6 to 7, maybe 6 horror films that have been released so far. Can you believe that? So 6 horror films now. Yeah. None of which have... Yeah, it's a lot. Not many have come to the UK so far. Most of them have done really bad. So we'll play a game a bit later maybe about them. But at this weekend, the best horror film of the year so far has come out. And so we're going to talk about the best horror film of the year so far. We're talking about The Invisible Man, Have you seen
Yes.
this? Now this.
No, I haven't.
Okay, brilliant.
I want to see it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so this might be rubbish. This might be really good. I'm not going to show my cards just yet. But if I was to say to you so far, most of the horror films that have been released, like The Grudge, Fantasy Island, I think they're the only two that made like double digits. All of them they've just been terrible. Critically and fan base has been really, really poor on all of them.
You book Hamilton. Hamilton, remember? Hamilton School. No, London. Definitely. Come on. Hey.
Yes, so that was spoiler man again. Okay, so sorry. Let me pause this a sec.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so The Invisible Man came out this weekend. It came out in the UK as well as America, which is not always the case for horror films. They kind of like get delayed a little.
Yeah.
Only kind of like the big budget kind of films. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I want an elevated pitch for myself about the dark universe. Now, do you remember the film The Mummy, starring Tom Cruise?
Didn't watch it, but yes.
Yeah, so
I
know. I know. That was supposed to kickstart the big new Universal Classic Monsters shared universe.
Didn't do it very well.
Exactly. So now Invisible Man's here. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And then you will pitch to me how we can get the Universal Classic Monsters together. First, pitch me their solo films, a couple of them, and then how they will assemble together like the Avengers did in their shared universe. Similar to Annabelle did in Annabelle Homecoming, the Spider-Man spin-off that she was in, where Annabelle assembled her group of villainous possessed items, and they all came together in one film. So that's where I'm trying to take this, is like, how will you resolve the shared universe and your elevated pitch for that? Because it was originally done, you're right, the Mummy film came out, which was Tom Cruise's. Not many people watched it. A massive failure. The problem is maybe they spent too much money on the film. And then they thought that Tom Cruise is this massive action star, he can sell anything, and they were going to make him. And then but they had invested a lot of kind of like already had signed up Angelina Jolie, Russell Crowe, Johnny Depp, Bardem as well, like as these people were going to come in and become the shared universes monsters or whatever. And the first film failed, and then they parked everything else thus far. And then Blumhouse, who made stuff like Paranormal Activity, who've been Purge, and loads and loads of horror films, all of which Get Out, Us, all like small budget horror films, turned out to be massively successful. And who better than James Wan's protege who makes this film? So James Wan's the guy who did The Conjuring universe. He's the guy who directed the first one, and then they've spinned off into this massive shared universe. And he's a protege who's worked on a bunch of films for him and helped him in a lot of stuff. This is not his directorial debut. This is his third film. And he's the guy who's basically made The Invisible Man. And we'll talk about Invisible Man now. And then you will then tell me how we get the next monster in, what their solo film would be, and then how we can get them all together to come together as assembled villains or goodies. We don't know yet because it's up to you, and how they can all coincide in a film together. So your job is to be Kevin Feige here, the man who's behind the cinematic universe of the Marvel stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so the director of this, did you ever see a film called Upgrade?
No, I didn't see that.
It's a really, really good film. He directed that, and he directed Insidious Chapter 3. Did you watch that one?
I can't remember.
No. Okay.
I watched quite a few Insidious.
Yeah, so there's been about 4 of them, I think, so far.
Yeah.
But anyway, he helped with the writing of the first 2, and he directed the third one. Then he did Upgrade, and now he's done this film. So the premise of The Invisible Man is basically very simple. I won't give too many spoilers away. We'll go into that a bit later, but it starts off, and it's in the trailer. So it's a lady. She's in an abusive relationship with this man who won't let her leave. Who you could tell by just the starting, and it's in the trailer. It's just like she's trying to leave him. She's trying to escape his hold. And she's leaving the house, and she puts the camera on him so she can just check to see if he's awake. And then she makes her way out of the house slowly. She kicks over the dog's bowl, and he's still asleep. So you're like, dodge the bullet there. Then she goes to the car, and she's about to leave. And then the dog comes, and she's like, look, I can't take you with me. But he's got one of these collars on, which I think either stop him from barking or a proximity one, so he can't leave the premises. So the dog's also experiencing the same level of abuse as the lady, but the dog's abuse is never we never really go into that. It's a shame because it's like the poor exactly.
You're not letting the dog live its life on its own.
Exactly,
it has the freedom.
They're taking away his voice, and anyway, so she's trying to make a run for it, and she knocks into the car. The car alarm goes off, and she runs off. And as doing so, she gets down to a particular road. This is all in the trailer so far. And then a car comes back. She jumps in the car, and it turns out it's her sister in the car, and she's going to drive her off away from this guy. And he comes running in, smashes the window, to try and grab her out. Right. That's just the start of the film. And then obviously the rest of it stuff will happen. We'll talk about. So it's about this relationship more than anything. Elisabeth Moss, I've never seen her in anything. She's in. You ever watch Handmaid's Tale?
No.
She's really good in this. So it always feels like once she's escaped him, and then again, not spoiler, it's in the trailer. He dies, and then she feels like she's being stalked by this invisible presence throughout the film. She does such a good job. Like she's feeling paranoid. She feels like no one's listening to her. It feels like she's still in this relationship that she can't get out of. And she talks about the things that he did to make her kind of leave her family, and how he isolates her from her family, her friends, and made her feel really lonely. And it's really good. It's really done well. Like this.
Well, that's real stories. So,
exactly.
That's a reality for a lot of people.
In these kind of relationships, and she does such a good job in portraying that. Right, even after he's dead, there seems to be something out there that's still bringing it all back and trying to put her through something similar. And at this point, we're not sure what's going on, and you're kind of is she going a bit crazy? Did he die, and she just can't get away from it anymore? So
psychologically, you're going to be in that situation anyway. So that's what you're going to feel like, I guess.
Yeah, even though he's gone, there will always be, you'll look over your back every so often, or you feel that there's someone there who's still stalking you, or who's still trying to come after you.
Yeah, PTSD and all that sort of thing you'd get from that situation.
Exactly, yeah. And her performance is really good. It's good as well because they actually talk about the relationship a lot. They show you the kind of abusive side and what effect it left with her mentally going forward, which is all good. Like all of these elements you could have in an indie film. It doesn't have to be a horror film, and it would still work. But you've got the elements of horror that will come later on. But all of that is so good. You just kind of initially, I'm watching the film. And I'm glad I didn't watch the trailer, because the second trailer showed off a lot of stuff that was good in the film. But there are some great bits that are not in the trailer, which I'm glad they didn't put in. So then she goes and she starts living with a friend. So she's kind of hiding from this guy. And then as in the trailer, she gets like a phone call from her sister to say he's dead, the abusive partner. So then she goes and she finds out she's inherited some of his wealth, but it'd be paid to her in installments. And it's her brother, it's the abuser's brother who tells her all of this. There's going to be this much money, you can get X amount for the next so many. So after she gets the money, she feels she's trying to let go and she's trying to move on with her life, but she feels there's something that's still stopping her from kind of living, and there's something that's still holding her back. And that's the cool bits about this film. Like, obviously it's called The Invisible Man, and there is an invisible man in the film, but those bits where you almost think she doesn't know how to kind of, even though she's got closure initially from the bit that he's dead, she doesn't really, because he's still there in her head. Then obviously later on there's an invisible man who's stalking her and haunting her, and he's putting her through something similar, and he sends an email from her account to her sister to try and break that relationship. He then starts to, it's called Invisible Man, so spoiler, I've said man, haven't I? So could have been woman, but the name gave it away.
I mean, I think in the public domain, I think we've got the idea that the Invisible Man is her ex-boyfriend. So if that's part of it, you can spoil that straight away.
Okay.
Because I think the idea is that he becomes the Invisible Man, maybe fakes his death in order to continue stalking.
Spoiler alert! You've spoiled most of the film.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
But
Yes,
that's the public. That's in the public domain.
That's 100% is. And then obviously, so as time goes on, that Invisible Man, which I wasn't going to say who it was yet, but it's her ex-boyfriend, the one who faked his death.
You're lucky you did hear much about the movie.
I know. It's still a good surprise. He starts tormenting. He starts tormenting her, and he starts to break her away from these other relationships she's got. So her best friend that she's currently living with, she breaks that relationship. He isolates her from her only family member, and he does the same things while no longer living as the Invisible Man, but what he used to do previously. So it's really, really clever how that plays out. There's some genuinely great scares in this, like jump scares. There's a cool bit where what they do is they leave the screen lingering a little bit too long, so you can see something in the background. It might not always be in focus, which is quite clever. And she's not like a normal final girl. She's actually quite a smart, clever final girl, like in the film You're Next, a really good underrated film. And she's very clever in this. Like, she sets traps and stuff to try and make people believe that there is a force or entity trying to get her. So she puts like stuff on the floor. There's a bit where she's hiding and she looks at the carpet, and you see the prints of the footprint go into the carpet, and then she attacks the Invisible Man, stuff like that. So it's not like not typical, but previous final girls who used to just run in one direction and used to just trip over and fall over stuff and get caught. She's a very smart lady. She's very good. And then as she gets stalked, and he does the same sort of things that he did previously with her, but now invisible. It's actually smart. There's a bit which is in the trailer, and I kind of want to spoil it, but it's in the trailer, so I can't really spoil it. But she goes upstairs to the attic, and she phones his mobile number basically, and she finds that it's ringing in the attic, and you're like, shit, the Invisible Man's in your house. Classic stuff, right? So she goes upstairs, she sees the phone, she picks it up, and a text message appears on the phone, and it says surprise. It was wicked. And then there's a paint bit which is amazing as well. Don't want to give too much away. And yes, there is a little twist and turn to it, but it's a really, really good, well put together film, and its performances are really good. I don't want to spoil too much more of it, but it's really, really good.
Cool. I mean, I've had this feeling that it's a good movie. It is a remake of an older movie, but
no, this is an original.
How dare you? Of the same character. It's the same character, but
yes,
I think the movie is so old that it's not something that it's something that can be redone properly and improved on. Whereas a lot of things like they're current and perfectly good to watch now, and they don't really need remaking. So it sounds like this one really ups the game with the horror elements and the psychological elements. So
it's more psychological terror, like how this man, even after death, is able to still manipulate her surroundings and still play such a big part in her isolation and making her feel lonely, even though he's not physically there anymore.
Yeah,
and it's done so well.
Even before he turns up as an invisible man, he's still got that hold and that grip.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because when they first go to the courthouse and she's been told he's dead, and they're having the conversation with the lawyers, and she even still at that point feels his presence there. She does such a good job that sometimes where she doesn't say anything or she's just sitting there or something, you still feel like she can't let go. There's something there. And then obviously something happens and this guy is able to turn invisible. I don't want to give too much away, but obviously he becomes invisible. He becomes the invisible man. And then, he's stalking her. And there's some really cool bits. There's a restaurant bit which took me out, just knocked me down. Did not see that coming. Some incredible bits in the film as well. Performances are great. And it's left open for potential sequels, but not to the point where if this was the only one, it's open and closed. They've done such a good job. It's a simple open closed finished film. Yes, standalone
but extendable as well.
But yes, easily. So there are no post-credit scenes, nothing to sprinkle in that there's a shared universe yet. It's just simply good. There's an invisible man stalks his prey. Lots of things happen. Film ends, and there could be a sequel or spin-offs or whatever you want to call it. Very good film. This is a watch in the cinema for myself, I'd say, without giving any more spoilers, because I know you want to watch it, so I'm not going to spoil any more.
Yeah, good.
So this was originally going to star Johnny Depp. The Invisible Man. So basically, Universal Pictures had this idea that they were going to do the Dark Universe. Mummy was the first one. They were going to do Bride of Frankenstein. They were going to do The Invisible Man. I think Bride of Frankenstein was going to be Angelina Jolie. Johnny Depp has The Invisible Man. They had Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Russell Crowe. So they put big name stars into it. They're going to pump tons of money into it. And they thought, we'll do the shared universe. The wrong idea. Yeah. Take these horror characters, put them in small budget movies, and then turn those horror films as standalone good horror films, and then sprinkle in the shared universe, just like Conjuring. So
it should be done. Yeah.
So now the pitch. Okay, so Universal Monsters. There's a whole heap of them. I want you to pitch the next Universal Monster film. I'll give you a list of people, and you can pick whoever you want to be the next one.
Okay.
And then we'll see how long it takes, and then you can pitch another one. And then how would they assemble, and who would become the Avengers style assembling of these villains to come together, and then that would become their shared universe. So with Conjuring, just so if you want to use that template, he just made a Conjuring film. Conjuring 2, but then they made stuff like Annabelle, they made Nun, and they made other films off of that. But Annabelle featured in Conjuring, but then she had her own film, and then they did her kind of Annabelle creation and then Annabelle Homecoming. So they placed her in their house. So you could place the invisible characters or wherever you want, however you want to do it, okay?
So they kind of established one thing at a time. Yes. A bit like Iron Man had 3 movies before they started connecting everything. Well,
Avengers came after Iron Man 1, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, The Incredible Hulk as well, and Iron Man 2. So they, 4 characters had their solo movies, and they introduced Black Widow in there, Hawkeye as well. So
there's definitely going to have to be a number 2 of one of them. So there's definitely going to have to be a sequel. I don't know of which yet, though.
Yeah, so they tried this previously with Dracula Untold. Did you ever watch this film?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so Dracula Untold was going to be something similar as well. So Dracula Untold was also going to kickstart the Universal Monsters. That never worked. Then they had a stab with the Mummy. That never worked. And now they've got the Invisible Man. So here are some of the other characters you can talk about. So you got Dracula. You got Frankenstein. You got Bride of Frankenstein as well. You could do a Mummy
Okay.
reboot if you want.
Another
The
one.
Wolf Man, and Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, awesome.
So you pick which character, and then you pitch me their film, and we'll do another one as well, and then tell me how you would bring those films together, and you can then chuck in more characters if you want. So this is the pitch. So which character do you want to pitch me?
I mean, this is a big problem right here. I mean, all of these characters are kind of like public domain characters anyway.
Yes.
So anyone can just make more movies about these things. So
Yep.
this is a big problem for like getting a grip on it all. 'Cause at least with Marvel, they had to buy the rights. Once they had it, no one else could do it. They could keep their franchise and their characters strong, but here they're just easily weakened, which is a problem. And I don't know if any of them really need remaking. I don't know if we need another Frankenstein or
If you
another
don't,
Dracula.
how would you create your shared universe? So
You know what? I think Invisible Man was a good choice for
Yes.
something that could be done better. And I think Creature from the Black Lagoon is another one. So I think that is definitely promising. I think Creature from the Black Lagoon would be the next one to bring to the table, worth bringing to the table.
yeah,
I don't know much about Creature from the Black Lagoon, but that's the point. That's
Okay,
the whole point. We don't know about the creature, so we can get introduced to this thing. Do you know much about it?
So the Creature from the Black Lagoon. From what I remember, it's basically like they have an experiment or something, expedition going into the Amazon, and they're looking for some fossilization or something. Anyway, whatever it is, similar to like Swamp Thing. Anyway, so they set up camp and the marine biologists turn up to this place, and then they slowly get terrorized by this creature from the Black Lagoon. And I think it was a 1950s film. I don't know if there's been remakes or reboots since, but there was one that I watched years ago, and then there's been various sequels. But it's a bit like Swamp Thing. It's a bit like DC Swamp Thing. So they have to go into. So what's your pitch for this one?
Yeah, I mean, so it's the Amazon. So I think we can definitely modernize that. Like we can have people going there to trying to stop the Amazon being cut down, because obviously that's more topical now.
Yeah,
that's why they're there. We'll have maybe environmentalists and stuff being involved in this, and I mean the creature from the Black Lagoon can definitely be a force of nature as well, sort of play off on that or something like that. I'm not sure what the elements of the creature itself are. So I'd have you've got a band of environmentalists going to maybe face off with some industrialization and tearing down the rainforest and all that stuff, and then maybe it's that starts things off. It's just quite normal, and then just weird things start to happen, and something else is at play. And we don't know what side the creature is on yet. Whether it's just going to kill everything in its path, or if it's got a preference to, or if it's got a reason for what it's doing. Maybe it's going to help them. Maybe it's not in their cause to stop the destruction of the rainforest. Maybe it wants to save its home, or maybe it's just out for revenge against all humanity now. We don't know.
See, that kind of works. That kind of plays into a lot of the ideals of saving Mother Earth, saving Gaia, and this would be, like you said, it's a very topical word. You could have a very small team of protesters who go in there to try and prevent it, and you've got the big oil companies or whoever it is trying to dig it up because they found something. But then the creature from the Black Lagoon initially seems to not have it seems like he's just, or it could be she. They seem like they're killing random people, or something's happening. We don't really see the creature for a while, and maybe towards the end we actually see that he was with the protesters, but it's not clear throughout the film because protesters are dying, but really the protesters are dying by the people who are maybe doing the
yeah.
bad stuff,
Yeah,
but they
the
die.
bad men are killing them off.
Yeah,
there you go. That's good.
but
Good
they
twist,
are
so
dying, and we're assuming that it's the creature from the Black Lagoon killing them, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's
I
not
think it'd be a
revealed
challenge
towards the
to
end.
make it work, but I like the idea.
I think if there's one element of this kind of, because it's such an old property, and you're right, it needs to be modernized. You need to bring it in. This would be great for a horror film. Firstly, I think if you do this right, the first few episodes of Swamp Thing, the DC TV show, are great. Like when they go into the swamp, it's always nighttime, and then actually Swamp Thing's a force of nature. He's not like a character who's I don't know, like not like Dracula or something. Swamp Thing uses the environment. The environment is him at the same time. So if you hurt the environment, you are hurting Swamp Thing. But then he can appear from anywhere. Welcome back. Now it's time for our segments.
Segments. Oh my gosh! Does that mean you watch South Park?
Just finished watching South Park. Yes,
You basket!
I only got to watch one episode. I'll say the title as always. See if you remember it. It's the Mexican, Sri Lankan staring frog.
I remember the staring frog. Yeah. Isn't it about? I guess about. Well, it's a Mexican staring frog that can kill you by staring at you. I guess.
That's right. Yeah, that's the one.
I'm not sure if it's actually true or not, or if it's just sort of people's paranoia.
Yes, exactly. So basically, it starts off. The boys have to do a thing on Vietnam. Like they have to do a paper on Vietnam. Like they have to go speak to someone who's been in Vietnam, talk about their experience. So they speak to Jimbo, because that's Stan's an uncle, and he's been to Vietnam, and he tells them this story about how there's like a roller coaster and how they crashed and they saved everyone, and then they got on a horse and all sorts of stuff. So they recite that back to Mr. Garrison. He gives them an F-. Exactly, yeah.
He made it up.
And so they make up the staring frog.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And at the same time, Jesus has got a TV show, which is changing because he's losing ratings, and so he's changing the format from just him calling people and giving advice to becoming more of a Jeremy Kyle, Jerry Springer kind of style show. Hilarious! It's great because even though Jerry Springer, Jeremy Kyle, all those kind of shows is like have come in kind of still are around though. That's the good thing about it. So it doesn't feel like it's an old episode. It actually still feels, and the fact that these guys are, so Jimbo and Ned start off by saying, "Oh, we can't just kill animals anymore." Remember previously they'd say, "He's coming towards us.
He's coming right for us."
That's it, right? And then they could kill it. But now they have to say they're thinning the numbers.
Thinning the numbers.
Yes, it's brilliant.
Thinning the numbers.
Because if they don't kill them, they'll just starve and die.
There's always a reason.
It's brilliant. So yeah, it's such a good episode. It's so funny. Like they can find a loophole in the hunting laws, and they can still go out and do these ridiculous things. It's brilliant.
And it's also it's still current because of the Mexican staring frog, of course, with the virus going around.
Yes,
everyone's scared of the virus at the moment. So.
No one will stare at the people. Have you? There's incidences of people being attacked as well if they thought. People think that they're from a certain country or they cause the virus. It's pandemic out there. It's crazy.
It's the travelling that puts you at risk, not your nationality.
Exactly, it's got nothing to do with you.
Idiots.
Just like South Park. Brilliant episode.
It's like South Park. This country.
It is. So do you remember this episode now a little bit?
I remember that much. I can't remember much else. Thinning the numbers.
Thinning the numbers. It's brilliant. When they do it, it's so funny because they just go and kill all these deers. It's another great episode. It's still early, so we're still in season 2. What's your rating on this one?
I I give it 4 stars. I don't know.
Oh,
I can't remember what inside it is funny, but I think all of the premises are gold.
yes. And
Yeah.
they're not dated as well. There's still things that go on which are relevant
Yeah.
about this. I'm sure people make up things about when they do these school presentations, but also
Yeah.
the stuff about hunting laws. It's always a grey area, so people just make up what they want as they go along. It's brilliant.
And you know there are theme parks in Vietnam, I'm sure. So
Yeah, there must be.
It'll-
Yes.
yeah. They didn't make it up. There's probably it's all true.
I'm sure there is true. And then he gets on a
In their-
horse.
Yeah. In their universe, I'm sure it's true.
Yeah, exactly. That's what must have. The thing is, if you imagine it, if you imagine something that really happened, and if you got it in your head that it really, really, really did happen, even if it didn't happen, if you're in a lie detector scenario, you will pass the lie detector because in your head you're so, and subconsciously you're now so thinking it happened. So if they did do a lie detector on these two, it would just say, yeah, it passed with flying colours.
Even with a person that's well trained, yeah. Because lie detectors can't actually do much. They're not really very useful.
No.
But
That's why they use them on these shows, yeah. It's brilliant.
Just love it, yeah.
There's a great bit where Jesus is doing this thing and he's talking to the lady and her husband, and then he starts talking to the crowd, and the crowd say the same thing. Oh, you should just kick him to the curb and stuff like that. And that's not even that's not even what she's talking about. It's hilarious
stuff. Yeah,
it's a brilliant episode. Okay, should we do the next segments?
Yeah, sure.
So quick into my guy quick reviews. Quick reviews of things that we watched or played or anything. So do you want to start? Anything? Obviously, you talked about Sonic now.
I mean, my first one was Sonic, which we've already talked about. I've already given my opinion on that.
And you've talked about the sequel.
And the sequel, exactly. I've had more thoughts on the sequel in our little break as well. I think we need to do a lot of characterization on Tails as well. Because we learn a bit about Sonic, we need to focus on Tails' character as well. And maybe there'll be a bit of a best friend rivalry because Tails has turned up, but Sonic is best friends with the human, so there's going to be a bit of rivalry as well. So
Tails is cuter, though. Tails is cuter.
Sorry?
Tails is cuter,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he's Donut Lord, so the other guy, so you haven't seen it, so you don't know.
No, I don't. I just know Tails from the game. He's just so cute.
Yeah. Well, the human is known as Donut Lord.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that. But I was going to also say, because I only just found out Tails is a boy. I always thought Tails was a girl.
Oh, yes.
I think recently you educated me on that one, so that's something new.
Yeah.
Last week's episode, yeah.
What you thought in between? No. Let's not go there. What you thought he was a girl. Apart from his little boy sort of voice, which is easily mistakable for a girl.
Yeah, so Sonic we've gone through. What's next on your list?
Yes. What else is there? I've been playing Watch Dogs still. I already talked about that.
Oh, yes.
It's a beautiful city. I think I've talked about it, haven't I?
A little
just
bit.
A beautiful
I think you
city.
talked about you purchased it and you got a bargain on it, and then
okay, so I didn't talk about playing it.
No.
Well, it's just I just mainly wanted it because of the beautiful rendition of Chicago. So I just love wandering around Chicago. I haven't completed the story because straight away I just wanted to wander around. And you can do ad hoc sort of chasing criminals. So I've just been chasing criminals and wandering around Chicago. So it's a beautiful game. And there was a whole problem with it when it released with the difference between what they showed on screenshots and footage. If you remember, it was in the very early day of the PS4, and the game ended up looking like a big downgrade compared to what they showed. So there's a big kerfuffle about that.
Okay.
So there seems to be some hate out there for the game because of that.
So were the images high-res images that people thought the game would look like, and the game was actually lower in quality?
They had they had actual video footage, as in gameplay footage,
Yeah.
that they claimed was real, as far as anyone knew, anyway. And it was just absolutely beautiful, like high end PC sort of value. And it was before the PS4 had come out, really. So, well, when the PS4 was coming out, I think, which means that we were expecting something new in a jump in quality.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I reckon it was probably down to Sony pressuring them more than anything to make their console look better. But people just blame Ubisoft or whoever it is, of course. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, the game is still beautiful. It's not that high end as it looks, but you can play it on PS3 as well, and you can noticeably different in the details of the buildings, and it's always down to water. Like when you get a new system now, it's all about the water reflections and the water effects that actually makes it look different. And it's still beautiful when it rains, and especially when it rains in the dark as well. It's just lovely to look at. I quite enjoyed there's a thing called Privacy Invasion. That's an open world thing as well, but there's only a limited number of them that you can do, which is a shame. I would like to see more of that. But it's great because it's all about technology. In case you don't know, it's all about hacking and technology, and sort of where technology is going, and Big Brother being able to spy on you and track you down and all that sort of thing, and steal your money. So you can actually hack into buildings and sort of spy on people in their homes, which is great, but it's only limited to like a few, like maybe 20 seconds each one. And it's like a little snippet of scenario that they've already pre-written. And I would have liked to have seen that a bit more, because the idea of just spying into people's homes is such a bad idea, but it's like what you expect with this sort of Watch Dogs world.
That's what people do now, right?
Yeah, exactly. People are doing it now, so it's crazy. So I would have liked to have done that in a game rather than reality, just to be clear.
Because you heard about the people who was it Apple or Google? So those the Alexa and the Apple Pod and all of them. There's an option. She's always listening, and they record conversations. I think it's Apple employees who are listening back to those conversations. Wow. So so you've got that. You've got what you're talking about in Watch Dogs is actually kind of like relevant still.
Yeah,
more so
and
now.
Google just take data of everything. They
data
save
mining, of course they do.
All of the data you've ever heard, they're saving it. Like they might not be accessing it, but they're saving it and using it to gain better control over people, because they can use the algorithms and find patterns and find out ways of affecting us, which is pretty scary stuff. Which is kind of where Watch Dogs starts off. And considering it's a fairly old game now, I think 2013 or something, it was kind of ahead of its time of what's actually going on. Obviously, it was starting to happen then, and it was just a little bit of a slight look at what might be happening and what could be happening in the future, and now it is happening. So yeah, it's cool stuff. The funny thing that I think about the game is that I just wanted to go in and maybe be a good guy, go and chase the criminals straight away.
Yeah.
But then I'm just walking down the street. You can hack people's bank accounts as you're walking past them.
Okay.
So obviously I need money, so I'm just walking. I'll catch a criminal, and I'm just walking down the street towards the criminal, just robbing everyone by hacking them.
Brilliant. But is that intentionally you're hacking them, or can you accidentally have a feature that's turned on by accident? So every time you walk past someone, you just steal the money.
It is intentional. You do have to press a button.
Okay. Yeah.
And there is an upgrade where it highlights people with more rich bank accounts, which means you can maybe aim for them, but it doesn't make any difference in the game. But if you want to feel like you're maybe robbing from the rich rather than anyone else. And actually, I really like the neighborhood. It's got the beautiful city of Chicago, and they've got sort of suburban areas, but you've got a proper rundown sort of area as well, like a massive neighborhood of just. I like those sort of areas because it reminds me of where I live anyway, sort of rundown and council estates and stuff and tower blocks. But also, it looks so much more detailed, and in the sense that things are all broken up and damaged and sort of different levels and stuff. So it's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
And when I walked around that area, I just wanted to walk around slowly. And I decided not to rob anyone when I was in that area because I thought, they're down on their luck already. I'm not gonna rob the poor people in this area. But it doesn't affect any gameplay because it doesn't do it by area or anything. But it's just a bit of role playing, so it is a bit of fun. I say there is one element that people may like, but I didn't like, is that eventually, only maybe 4 missions in, but I delayed the missions a long time. You access online mode as well, which basically means that you'll be playing the game in single player. You might like this because you like what they do in Dark Souls and Bloodborne and stuff.
Yes.
You're just walking.
Borderlands.
You're just trying to go about your normal life.
Yes.
And then someone just patches into your game, you don't know it, and they're sitting there trying to hack you and steal your money and stuff. And then you've got to try and chase them down before they can get away. And that's just one mode.
I don't like that mode. I don't mind them jumping in to help out because I'm all about the co-op play. I'm not about this everyone coming into. That's kind of like it's a bit unfair because if you get, I don't know how the leveling works, but if you get to mission number 4 and you're quite new into the game, when you put in let's say 2 or 3 hours into the game, someone's put in 30 hours or 40 hours, and they're just kind of waiting around for you to get to a certain point in the map, and they're just kind of that to me seems a bit unfair. But with stuff like Bloodborne, at least it used to match you to someone who's similar. So at least you did.
Yeah, I don't think there's actually much you can advance apart from certain technologies useful to like single player. So it's not too much different. But you're right. Like it's just that sense of people that want to rob you is just not nice anyway. So I don't like that sort of gameplay. But obviously it does add something. For one thing, it does add something for people that like that, an extra challenge that the game isn't offering. I think always that's a good thing about multiplier versus is that there's always a skill ceiling that there's always someone better than you, so you can have a challenge. And the other good thing is that you can turn it off, so I just turned it off.
Brilliant.
Once it activated, I switched it off. I'm out of there. I'm wandering around peacefully in the slums again, chilling out.
So there's 2 parts in Bloodborne. There's 2 levels where as soon as you enter the level, this bell ringer starts ringing the bell, and until you don't kill her, you can be invaded by anyone. So there's the sense of dread, obviously, coming to a new area, trying to work your way around it. But then there's this extra sense that at any point, anyone who's invading, and that's all they want to do, is they can turn up to your level, and then obviously they can quite kill you. Yeah. Other than that, there are no other areas like that. So it's actually quite cool because you turn up to the area. And so one of the areas you could turn up to quite early on in the game, and you could accidentally go in there and the bell starts ringing and you got to find her or be killed. But to get to her, you got to kind of kill through loads and loads of enemies anyway. So it requires a lot of skill. And I'm sure people just sit on that level waiting for people to come in. And then as long as they match within a certain point, killing them.
And that's fine. I mean, I used to play online an MMORPG. And they have certain maps that are PvP and other maps just aren't. So you go to the areas that you want to fight, you can go there. And sometimes I'll put some high value resources or something behind those things so that you've got a motive to try and get through there, and maybe a motive to defend it as well and attack people. But generally, you didn't have to go there. So that's a nicer way to do things. But it's still a good game. I enjoy the game. So thanks to the whole open world of it, I'm keen to get the second one as well now, set in San Francisco. Although it doesn't look as grimy as this one. So this one sort of feels very atmospheric, especially sort of the rain. That sort of Chicago film noir slight feel to it. Whereas the other one looks a bit. The characters look a bit younger, and it's all a bit just jumping around, having fun sort of look to it. So I'm not sure if it will feel quite as good, but a nice thing as well is that there's a lot of locations that have a bit of information about the buildings and things like that. So
the actual landmarks in the
yeah,
real world. Oh,
yeah,
brilliant.
so you can even in like the slum areas, there's certain streets where people have been killed, gang stuff happened in reality, and they'll even
Cool.
tell you about some of those things. So that's cool. And also, if you visit these places every hour, you can compete to sort of have a hold on the area as well, even in single player, compared to other people that are playing online or people that are playing single player and just sort of visiting these places.
Oh, brilliant.
Which is a nice little thing as well. It's a very peaceful sort of version of competition. So, yeah, it's good for the explorer like myself who enjoys seeing real world places converted into game form.
It's great. It just shows you how advanced technology has gone. Like in 2013, they can map out the whole or most of Chicago, turn it into a game, actually walk down the street, and make you feel like you're really there.
Yeah, feel like you're there. I mean, there's one thing that is still a case, which I think will always be the case, is that, well, for most games, is that they cut it down. They do a very cut down version.
Yeah.
But the way they manage to make you feel like you're in that city, they've given you all the little bits that make it feel like that city in different areas. And it feels big, even though it's actually cut down so you can drive across it in 5-10 minutes. Because otherwise, if it took you half an hour to get from one side to the other, there could be a game where that would be good value. But I think, people want to have a bit more fun than that. Sort of jump around.
You could do that in one of the Assassin's Creeds. You sit on the boat and you can sit on the boat for a few hours as it makes its way from one location to another. So yeah, but there's things you could do on the boat as well. I think it's Black Flag or the one after that.
Black Flag.
Yeah, I think that introduced that element where you can fast forward your boat ride, or you can sit in the boat ride and kind of do the whole thing.
That's another thing as well. Actually, they've got the tram system from Chicago as well, which I love riding. I love public transport. You can't take a bus. I'm disappointed you still can't take buses. That doesn't seem to be a priority for any game developers that you can take a bus.
But does it cost money to get on the tram, or can you get on free?
It doesn't cost you anything.
Oh,
they must have what's it called? They must have had free transport in Chicago. I don't think they really do, but
in Seattle
they subsidize.
Yeah, in Seattle. I remember when I was traveling in Seattle, was it Seattle? It was one of the places I went to in America, and they did have free transportation.
Yeah. Awesome.
Maybe Toronto. So you can get on the trams free. It was wicked. Yeah. Unlike anything I've ever seen in any country.
I think Norway has just done it recently. That's this week.
Yeah.
So that's
Norway or Denmark. News. Yeah. Yes.
They've made all public transport free, which is wicked.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I just love getting on the tram. They're all above street level, so you have to go up the stairs. And as you say, you can just go up to a map and fast travel to like a different stop, which is nice. But also you can just walk on there and just try and spy out the window and just enjoy the view and the journey, I just love that sort of thing. So I love that. The other game I've been playing this week is an older game. I've been playing Chinatown Wars, a GTA game. I know you haven't played as many GTAs as me. You're not quite as big a fan as me.
I love GTA 5.
So do you know what Chinatown was?
And GTA 4. But GTA 4 is too difficult for me. But GTA 5 is
amazing. GTA 4 is a bit difficult, yeah. So have you heard of Chinatown Wars?
No,
I don't even know what it is. No, not at all?
No.
Okay, so Chinatown Wars is a handheld version of the game. It's based in the same city as GTA 4, but a very cut down version. It was actually for the DS first. So you imagine the first two islands of GTA 4 cut down and put into that entire place put into a sort of a top down sort of view like the original a little bit, but sort of side on. So it's not like gone full 2D, but it's like that sort of style.
Yeah.
But fit into the DS. I'm playing it on Vita at the moment because I've also played it on PSP. There's a PSP version, It's actually a PSP game that's you play on the Vita. I've played it on mobile as well, and I've played it on the DS.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a bit obsessed with GTA.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. And yeah, it's Chinatown Wars. You're following a Chinese guy who's moving to the city to after his father, I think his father dies, and he's bringing a ceremonial sword to deliver to one of the gang bosses as a sign of honor, respect, and all that sort of thing. And then, of course, things go wrong, and you're having to follow other people's orders as usual, as most GTA games do. But the great thing about this game that they've added is to make it, well, for one thing is there's no touchscreen stuff, which I'm a bit disappointed at because the PSP didn't have touchscreen. So, but I hoped that the Vita would reintegrate it, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But on the DS, they've obviously you have the dual screen and you have the little pen thing, and you can. So when you want to steal a car and you want to hotwire the car, you'll have a little mini touch screen game to play to get things started, things like that. So that's quite fun. With the Vita and PSP version, you just have to press buttons, which isn't as fun, but it's okay. And the other thing is there's a lot of drug dealing stuff that you can do.
Nice.
You're basically, you can make your own money
GTA,
by
yeah,
it's GTA, which they've done in GTA 5 online with the businesses. But this you're just yourself, just walking around. You buy from you buy low and sell high. You figure out which ones sell lower and which ones sell higher, so you can do it that way, and just driving about in between them, selling off, and you can just keep doing that. It's so addictive. And also, you get tips emailed to you.
Drugs. On what drugs to sell? Oh, amazing.
So good. And you get tips. Yeah, you get tips for someone that's maybe selling at low price or they're buying at high price.
Oh,
so there's always someone doing something and it can keep you addicted because every couple of in-game days, you'll have another tip, and you can have about 3 or 4 of them going on at once, and you can just be. And you can line, if you get one lined up with, say, someone's buying weed real for a lot of money, which is one of the cheapest drugs anyway. But if it's near an area where people are always selling cheap weed, it's perfect. You can just go back and forth, and then maybe wait for the day for them to restock, and then just make a killing on that. So it's really addictive, even though you don't really need as much money as I've probably earned already in the last few days. But yeah, that's a lot of fun, and obviously that's really focused on mobile gaming as well, because it gives you short bursts of gameplay that you can just do any time. Just turn it on, do a drug deal or two, close it up 10 minutes later, get on the bus, in reality. You can catch a taxi in there and do taxi mini games as well, which again, I love public transport.
Yeah, of course you do.
But you can't get on the trams in this one.
Well, it is mobile gaming.
It is.
So
the thing is that there are a couple of tram stops, and you can see them roaming around, which is great. They hurtle past, and you hear them and everything, which I do love. But you just can't go up the steps and actually catch them in this one, which is a shame.
Next one.
Yeah.
Well, they do Chinatown too.
Yes. Yeah, if they ever do that. I mean, it'd be nice if they did that when they bring out GTA 6, that they do a companion mobile game again. Because this one basically came out at the same time as GTA 4, so you got that mobile experience as well. So that'd be great. That's the future setup then for that.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, it just goes to show, mobile gaming's come on so much that you can do so much GTA stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean this was years ago as well. So imagine what they can do now. They can probably do a lot, and they could probably add more online stuff as well, which they haven't done in this one, because they're all about online competition and stuff, aren't they? So look forward to seeing something like that. Would be good. Yeah. You got anything, or I can talk about one more game I started yesterday?
Yes.
This is
what
strange.
else? Stranger Things.
Okay, so this is a game called Big City Stories on the PS4, and it's basically like a mobile game where you set up a city and you have to earn money and energy, and you have to set up the companies, the buildings that will earn the money.
Yeah.
You've got lots of missions to sort of achieve certain things, and it's free to play, which is why I saw it and I thought, why haven't I got this one yet? It looks like a sort of game that I would like to see because I'm interested in sort of city gaming.
Yeah.
So I downloaded it, and yeah, it comes up made in Unity, and I have to say, like, it's not what's the word, where when games are like highly honed down, like highly well programmed and optimized is the word I want, but it looks really really silly, like really terrible. Not terrible enough to not play, but like it's proper cheap looking. Obviously, it's a free game, and it tries to. You can buy coins, which is how they make their money, obviously.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
I was interested to see how that would happen. And yeah, there's a mission quite early on, which is quite manipulative, where one of the characters that you can do missions for says prove to me your dedication to something by going and buying this building that you can only get with coins that you would have to bought with real money. So that's a bit manipulative. But apart from that, most of the time you can just everything else you can play the game without buying it. But yeah, that's a bit weird. It just means, I think if you do spend coins, it just gives you access to very high-end clothing and stupid stuff, and making the game a bit faster. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to recommend it or not, but there's people can go and visit your city, and you can visit theirs. But there's not much to do nothing to really do apart from just drive around in their cities. There's a little bit of a taxi mini game that you can play in your own city. It would be nice if they put that into the other cities as well, just to give you something to do.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, but, I mean, you can chat with people if they're there, but that doesn't seem to be a big thing for the game either, because they're quite big areas. Well, not that big, but you're not going to be stopping and chatting to people much, I don't think. You just look at the city and see what happens. So there's room for improvement for what they could have actually did a little bit more better for the game. But the fact that you can do a taxi mini mission and a zombies running over mission is good in my book, even if it's kind of really tacky and lame. But yeah, if you like those sort of mobile games, it's free.
Yeah.
And I tend to get addicted to them for a little bit and then give them up after a few days. So
I think that's what everyone must happen to most people, because they're free to play. So you start and you get to a certain point, and then it's either you need to grind for hours and days to try and get them, or just spend real currency.
Yeah, well, I have to say it's building up quite quickly. It's not really taking advantage in that way. It's not making things too hard. So it's an enjoyable day or two if you want to play it, and just to see how kind of plain the graphics are. It's kind of funny, and how terrible the cars control as well. You can barely turn the cars, which is just kind of hilarious. I finally found a handbrake, which helps a little bit, but it didn't tell me where the handbrake was. Yeah, the physics isn't great either, but it's just kind of funny to see what someone has made. It's like someone has made it in Unity, like a fan. But just a person that wants to make money. But I expect it was actually got some big business behind it.
Yeah, I was going to say big business always.
Zynga, probably Zynga or someone, But it didn't say Zynga, I don't think. So who knows? I have to look further into that one.
But
yeah, that's what I just made it up. Yeah. Zynga. They make loads of these sort of games on mobile.
I mean, they do really well that way in terms of how many games they produce, and there's so many of them. They must make enough money just from adverts and in-app purchases that the game itself can be given away for free.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think they could live off the first game they made, but I don't know which one it was, but I can't remember. I think I did know. They must have succeeded on that one to keep on making more, and
Yeah.
they're really popular games as well. So I have to do an episode on that sometime, so we can look at what games they are. I haven't looked at them.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've downloaded Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes, you did it.
New
Yep.
and Sonic Forces. These are the new PSN Plus games, PS Plus games, free to play. If you're signed up to PlayStation Plus.
Yes, and there's always that debate that they're not free because you pay for.
Yeah, exactly.
You pay for the subscription.
Where do you stand on that?
I don't really use online gaming, so I know because
You're
PS3
paying
was
for
free.
them.
PS3
Yeah.
was free.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So I see it as I'm paying for these games, and if you think about like how much you spend on these games in the course of the year, it's about £40 for the membership for the year, and when you compare it with how many games they give away, which is about 24, even if they're £1 each game, or £2 each game, you've made your money. If they are £2, that is.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and
I think it's
they
value.
give away games that are maybe £15, maybe £30. Some of them are higher value, so they're not all that. They usually do a bit of a mix, don't they? Sort of one that's going a bit cheap and one that's costs more.
And sometimes even the indie games cost about £10 if you were to buy them. So even the good indie games that they give away free of charge, they may be a bit older, but they're still retailing for about £10 or something. So you get your money's worth. If each game cost about £5 and there's 24 in a year, you made your money's worth, haven't you? So I don't see what the problem is there. I think it's great value for money. I just think I don't play enough online games for it to worry about kind of like the £40 rip-off. I just see it as free games. Yeah. And it was great before when you used to get Vita and PS3 games.
Yeah, I signed up just at the end of that era, which is really annoying because I also got a Vita as well. So I had like 1 month where I got the Vita and I could download games, and then it was gone.
Yeah. There's so many free Vita games I have, and I don't have nothing to play it on.
I'll have to hack your account.
Yes, sharing is caring. As it says. Yes.
I mean, you don't have a Vita. You're not going to use a Vita.
No, I'm not using Vita.
I might even get a second Vita just so I can use your account.
Yeah, of course. If Sony's listening, we don't really do that. We do not share the account. We would.
I mean, you could. It's your account. You can let me use it. There's nothing against that.
But it's the same as it's the same as when you do it at home with your family, right? If you got 2 PlayStations in your house, firstly you're super rich, but some people do. Some people have that, so you're going to be paying for multiple. Instead of paying for multiple games, you just reuse the same account. Yeah.
No, I mean that would make more sense rather than buying the games twice. I mean, I don't know if you can. Is it possible? I don't think it's possible to online game with 2 different people if they're using the same account. So if you wanted to play with the person in the other room, you'd have a problem. But I think even a lot of games you can play if you log into another account, they'll still be on the same console and you can still play them. So especially if it's your primary PS3 or whatever, or primary PS4. But maybe online is a bit more different. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I downloaded those 2 games. I haven't played them yet because they were downloading. So I downloaded Big City Stories at the same time, and it's a tiny game, and it arrived first. So
brilliant.
so they are finally downloaded.
I downloaded Sonic Forces so far only, and I played a bit of it. We put some of the videos online. So they're on the YouTube channel. Check them out. The links will be below. It's weird because I've never played Sonic in this manner where it jumps. Sonic Forces. Have you played it first?
I haven't played it, but I've seen that it jumps between 2D and 3D.
Yeah, that's it. Some of the levels starts off 3D, and it's like you've got the environment, but you've only got a small platform. You can only go so far, and then every so often, after a certain time, it'll jump into another part of the game and it's now 2D and it does the old classic Sonic.
Yeah. Do you like that?
So far it's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe when I play a bit more of it. So the second thing you have to choose the avatar, and I created like a
Okay.
Bugs Bunny character, so it doesn't look like any of the
nice.
Sonic characters.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That's...
And then and I just ran through the levels. What I have found is you don't need to bash into things. So when you're running 3D and something's in front of you, you know, one of those little whatever they are, I just move left and I walk past it. And I don't run past it. I just walk past it. I just walk past it.
Walk slowly.
Yes.
Walking slowly through the whole game.
Not through the whole game.
In the atmosphere.
Because you have to make jumps, don't you? So you can't just walk.
Some of it speeds you up, I guess.
Yeah.
Loop the loops and stuff. And all sorts of bouncing around. Yeah, they basically did the same. Sonic Generations is very similar to that. So you've got 2D, you've got classic Sonic, which is all 2D, and then you've got modern Sonic, which is just the same as that. It's like 2D bits, then 3D bits. So I think because they've got the formula down now, and that obviously that's working for them, that's what they're going forward with for Forces. So it sounds quite good to me.
It's worth a play,
Yeah,
definitely worth.
Would you say you're finished with the game, or you're still getting through it?
I got to third stage, so no.
Yeah.
I'll play a little bit more. I won't play loads more because
see if you can beat it.
See if I can.
Yeah, see if you can complete it.
No.
Well, why not? You always say, well, once I started a game, I'm going to.
You know what? I do play to the end, but the only reason why I downloaded this one because I'm not going to play Shadow of Colossus for a while. I want to try this because we were talking Sonic for quite a while, and you got me intrigued into the Sonic whole franchise, and because I haven't played many Sonic games.
I thought you said Sonic cult. Then you were about to say that you could call it a cult.
It is the cult of Sonic, yeah. So I thought I'll try this out. I'll give him a fair shout, and then see how I get on. But then I want to finish Shock. I'm so into the first one; it's really good. And then if the ending of it's really good, I'll go straight to number 2. I don't think I'll stop.
Exactly.
Exactly, and that's actually made for it's based for newer consoles, right? So I'm sure the gameplay will look better, it'll play better. So I'm leaving that one till the end. That might be the worst one of the series. I don't know.
Well,
might be the best of the series.
Yeah, I mean it's highly renowned. It's very, very well loved. But I do think that I get the feeling that maybe the original. I mean, maybe people just say this about everything, but like the original BioShock is probably the best of what it is, and they sort of build on it, and they're gonna loosen up on the things that made it the best, but at the same time, just it's much a beautiful experience and stuff. So I think you'll like all of them.
Yeah, so far I'm loving the first one, so I'm looking forward to the next two.
So you've got a lot of perseverance to do to get through all 3 of those games.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean about the PlayStation Network, right? I feel like it's value for money because you do get some good games. And I won't play Uncharted because I played Uncharted 3. I didn't really enjoy it that much, so I'm not gonna play those games. But certain games I will play to the end. I will stick like Last of Us. I don't think you even started. I played that all the way to the end, and I didn't even like it that much. No. But I stuck with it because I wanted to see what the big deal was. What was the big thing that everyone's talking about this game?
Yeah,
it was fine.
Think you obviously have a bit more constraints on your finances as well. So you're not going to just buy games that you're not going to play. So the fact that you spent that £40-50 on the PSN, you're going to not just that, but you're going to enjoy every moment of every game that you get.
Yeah.
Well, not every game, but
most
every big game that you can invest in, you're gonna go a long time on that. I remember when I got my PS3 for the first time. It was late on in the life, and I only had one game. It was Red Dead Redemption, and for the first 3 months or something, and I was deep into that game, and loving it because that was the only game I had. I didn't have any of this anxiety over what game to play next because there was just one game to play.
Exactly, that's exactly how I feel with a lot of these games. That some of them I wouldn't have purchased myself.
Yeah.
Some I would. Like I know Borderlands Hans and Jack collection was on there. I already had a copy of that. Bloodborne, I already got a copy of that. So there are games that they have put in there that I've already got copies of. But generally, some of them I'll be like, I'd like to play that at some point. But because there's so many hours of content, like Bloodborne, I may have put in 40 or 50 hours worth of gameplay into that to finish the whole thing. I would have put in something similar into Borderlands, maybe more. So by the time you put in that much, a couple of months have gone by on the PSN. And so instead of buying another game, you just dip into one of them and you've got an amazing new game that you can play.
Yeah, brilliant.
So yeah, so I'm gonna play that. I'm not gonna play Shadow of Colossus for a while. The other thing I finished watching was Marvel's Runaways. It's finished now. Season 3 was the last season.
Okay.
It was quite good. It wasn't great. There's one episode where they do a crossover. I always love crossovers. So another Marvel TV show, Cloak and Dagger, currently on. The two from there turn up into Runaways, which is quite cool. Nice little kind of like a crossover episode.
Oh, nice.
Which is and they play themselves, and you've got the Runaways. What was good was the penultimate episode in the Runaways. Everything happens. The big bad, they destroy it. But one of the main characters dies, and I'm like, that's really good. That's good. You don't really do that in kind of like TV shows or Marvel movies that much. But then the final episode kind of ruins it all because they introduce time travel. As soon as you do time travel, the first thing they're going to do is let's go back in time and save the person. And I'm like,
get that person.
So the final episode, they saved the person.
They did that.
And they no longer died. And the show ends, and it is kind of like 3 seasons and finished. But they've left just enough they've left one big nugget out there that potentially could have a 4th season on. And that would have its own payoff. But otherwise, if there is no more, it's fine. It's kind of done. I didn't like time travel.
No, as soon as they should have closed it. Yeah.
Yeah, let one of the key characters die. I liked Josh Whedon's Firefly show, right? So he got the show, he had these people, then they cancelled the show. They went away and they did Serenity, the movie. And he thought, if this works, we'll get these people back for multiple films. People who didn't sign on for multiple films, he killed them. He just killed all these main characters in the film.
Excellent.
And I love that. I think sometimes you just go for broke and just kill key characters, and it's good. It keeps it fresh and keeps it moving.
It keeps the stakes high, because if anyone can come back, then there's no stakes at all.
No.
You've got to kill them off and they're gone.
Exactly. I think Game of Thrones did that really well. As much as the show was good, not great, I thought it was good. They just killed a lot of key characters at times where you may or may not have expected it, and they just keep the show moving that way. So that was
time travel is a bad idea.
Worst.
Yeah.
Unless if it's Terminator, then it's
unless it's the villain. I saw this thing. I watch a lot of YouTube videos about all sorts of things, and I think one thing was about sort of cheap new powers arriving just in time, like kind of ruins things. If a goodie suddenly gets a new power just in time to defeat a baddie, it's very unsatisfying. It's the same with time travel, but it's reversed if like a villain suddenly gets a new power, because it ups the stakes, makes things, raises the tension. Well, so if you're going to give time travel to someone all out of nowhere, give it to the villain.
Yeah, that's not a bad
idea.
idea.
Make it an extra challenge. Make it so that things are now even worse. That's what you got to do. I
think that works better. I think you're right. I think if you're raising the stakes, make it so it's difficult. Don't make it so it's easier for the main characters.
No, the main characters have to overcome their problems by using their own, what they have and what they've built up, in order for the payoff. Yeah.
Cool. I also I watched 2, I think they're TV movies, but they're on Amazon Prime. Shout out to Amazon Prime because Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is coming out this month on Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's going to be on Amazon Prime.
I'm sure.
I'll just get it on because we've got streaming service, so I'll just watch it. But shout out to them. And I watched a film on there called Monster Hunter. So there's a video game.
There is
a huge Japanese video game called Monster Hunter, which the last installment was its biggest so far. Mila Djokovic.
Well.
Yeah, because it's the one that kind of crossover. The last one did the biggest crossover, and loads of people in the West have bought it as well for the first time, I think. And there's a movie coming out. Mila Djokovic stars in it. It'll be out this year.
Okay.
Tony Jaa. It's another video game movie.
Excellent.
But the Monster Hunter film I watched felt like a TV movie where there's this thing trying to kill these people, and they're in this town, and it comes out during the day or night or whatever, and it's killing off all this stuff. And then you see it right at the end, it's like a CGI mess. It's a terrible kind of CGI thing, and it wasn't that good.
At least they left it to the end.
Yeah, they did really, really close to the end, and I love a good creature, horror creature kind of like movie anyway, because like Troll Hunter's good. The Crawl, I think we talked about a few weeks back, was one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite films of last year. Stuff like that is good. And then I watched another one called Scarecrow.
Okay.
Again,
I've heard of this one.
It's obviously, they're in a village, not a village, they're in some sort of state in America. Every year they have a Scarecrow festival. Turns out that this Scarecrow used to terrorize the village years ago, and they buried it underground. And now, because people were messing around, they've accidentally unleashed him. And the CGI in this one's much better. Like the creature effect is good. There's only one decent jump scare, I think, in the whole thing. There's a really cool bit where the Scarecrow's head is hollow, and you can see through it, and you can see someone behind him, which is quite cool. And it didn't feel like there was that much terror and peril to him, because he was just a CGI kind of floaty kind of scarecrowy thing. But wasn't that good.
But it's still better than Monster Hunter.
Yeah, Monster Hunter, So I'm looking forward to the new one with Mila Djokovic and Tony Jaa, but the current one, no.
The one you watched, is it associated with the game, or is it animation?
No, nothing to do with the game at all. No.
Okay.
It's just by name, just purely by name, by chance.
Oh, there you go.
So, boy.
Looking forward to the next movie.
In the franchise,
Okay. Cool.
Should we go on to the next segment?
Upcoming
previews. Yes.
You got anything to preview? Yeah, sure.
I'm watching more of Jack Ryan. We talked about John Krasinski, the guy from The Office. He's in the Jack Ryan TV show. I've just got back into that, so I'm about 4 episodes in. So by the end, once I get to end of season 1, I'll do a recap, and then when I get to end of season 2, do a recap. So that's kind of like what I'm kind of flicking through right now.
Okay. If you could describe the story in one sentence, just in case anyone is just listening to this one episode.
He's like a CIA agent, and it's a bit like Homeland, but instead of a female character, it's a male character.
Okay.
That's the best way to describe it.
Good sentence. Cool. Anything else?
I forgot in the segment before, I watched a documentary on Lil Wayne. So Lil Wayne just released an album called The Carter 5. And when he released that, I went and listened to The Carter 3, which is my favorite of his albums. And it's the most commercially successful one. That's why I love pop music. And he's a rapper. So I watched the documentary, and it covers that album, The Carter 3, and the release of his next album. It's quite a fascinating kind of thing. Like, he's just constantly in the studio, and he had they would say, have you got about 1,000 unreleased songs? And he said, yeah, I've got. And it's just constantly when he's touring, he'll stop and he'll do a verse, and he said, I don't write anything down. He's just like, there's just thoughts in my head, and I'll just kind of spit them at that point, and I'll drop my bars. It's fascinating to see how he works, his work ethic, and the release of the album, and what it meant kind of going forward, because it's one of the.
Did you say how he picked picks which ones to release then, if he's got 1,000 of them.
No, he didn't. They didn't get into that sort of level of kind of like, so because the Carter 3 had come out, and then the next album he was doing was a more experimental music one, where he was going to put in more rock music, pop music, obviously rap music, but he's going to play guitar. There's going to be him playing piano and stuff, and then he'll do his bars and stuff on top of that, and he'll sing the choruses, he'll sing the hooks. So he was he's going very experimental for his next album, Rebirth.
Cool.
It's really, really fascinating. It's amazing to kind of see him, then you see behind the scenes of his tour, because you're following him on his bus, and he starts talking to you about stuff, and they're talking to him. Really, it's quite an old, because the Carter 3 must have come out maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe longer than that, a long time ago. So yeah, it's quite an old documentary, but it's well worth watching. And also watched the Avicii. Do you know Avicii?
No.
Superstar DJ like David Guetta and like Mark Ronson and people like that. He's was huge, massive. Like he would sell out tours, stadiums, arenas, all sorts of stuff. Like just a DJ, had massive hit singles, and it's incredible. You watch him from being a young DJ trying to make it through, like how many hours and all the effort and stuff he puts in, to the point where he's finally making it, and he's like getting into big gigs, and he's got like singles out, he's got an album out, and then he goes away and starts working his second album, and the pressures of gigging. Like I think he does 400 or 500 gigs in the space of, I think it's 4 or 5 years, something like that, constantly gigging, and DJ sets tend to be quite late at night as well, so and too early hours, and so he's got to do that. He's got to be up during the day, rehearsing and whatever. It's incredible.
500 gigs.
I think it's 400 or 500. It kept coming up on the screen.
That's half a terabyte.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yes. Excellent. That's good music news.
Yeah, I know, because I know you hate music, but every so often I like to.
Tell me about it. Yeah. About it.
So yes, one's on Netflix, the Avicii one, and the Lil Wayne one is on Amazon.
Cool. I forgot. I remembered something when you mentioned Sonic Forces, the character customization. I remembered for Big City Stories, the character customization is hilarious as well. Yeah. Like it's the when you create a character, you can sort of change the aspects about them as you can do in a lot of modern games, sort of like micromanage their size and stuff. But like you get to the stage of maybe you want to change their arm sizes, it lets you change the arm size, and like you just go one notch on it, and they're like ginormous, or the other way, and they're like tiny, like alien arms, and the same with like hands and stuff. It's just crazy. It's very much abusing in the sense of how they made the game. Yeah. Upcoming, I'd say I'm a bit excited for GTA 6 still, even though there's no real announcement.
Yes.
This week there's been a bit more leaking and a bit more rumor, possibly, of them making an announcement at some point. There's rumor that they might make an announcement at some point soon, or at least a teaser of some kind. I'd say it's more likely to be a teaser. Because there's a teaser image going around, which I don't know if is legit or not, really.
Yeah, I saw that as well on the Rockstar website. Yes.
It's the Rockstar website. I visited the Rockstar website. I couldn't find it. I couldn't see the actual image myself. Maybe that's just because it's from the UK. Maybe it's only set up in the US at the moment.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know.
I didn't look for it. I just read an article on it about.
I assume nothing is real until I've seen the evidence, because I'm on Facebook. I'm on fair few groups and stuff, and they're constantly putting out fake things about PS5, and they're fake. So to see something coming about GTA 6 when I know that they're not. If it was a big news, they'd probably put it in their feed themselves. Put something out themselves.
Yeah.
So straight away, I'm looking at the website, thinking I'm going straight to the website, having a look around, thinking now this is all just news about Red Dead Redemption 2 online stuff and
Yes.
GTA 5 online. I don't
Maybe
see
it's a
any new
trick. Yeah,
It could,
maybe
it
it's a
could
trick.
be, it could be, but it seems legit. But yeah, until I see it, I can't confirm it. But I'm still excited for it because I do. We know it's coming.
Yes.
But when it's coming, we probably won't know. I can imagine it coming out by Christmas for the PS5 release, but I can also imagine them sort of keeping it maybe an extra year just to sort of tease people and make sure that the console has got a good solid sales base first.
Exactly. The difference is, I think Sony and Microsoft need GTA more than GTA needs them. So they can come out when they want. But I mean, for a launch title, if you came out with GTA 6, that's huge for both Sony
and console seller. If Sony secured the exclusive to it, that's a console seller. But they would never go exclusive. They'd maybe go, I don't know, at maximum I'd say 6-month exclusive. Maybe more likely a month or two of you get the game first for a month.
But they'd have to pay some serious money to Rockstar, because there's no way Rockstar would turn around and say, yeah, we'll be exclusive to you because we don't need you guys as much as you need us.
And the thing is, if they want to make the record-breaking sales again, they're going to have to wait till everyone's got the console. They're going to have to look at how many people have the console already. Yeah, the people are going to buy the consoles just to play the game, but you need to have at least half your players to really have the console before you go out releasing. So yeah, I'm looking to it when it comes. Still rumours of Vice City, possibly. There's a new location, but if the image is legit, it looks kind of upscale, sort of rich looking. So maybe a Vegas game or something. I don't know.
That'd be wicked.
Obviously, they had Vegas in San Andreas because they have 3 cities in that game. You still haven't played it?
Nope.
Still haven't played the best game in the series.
Well, GTA 5, I played GTA 5.
That's the best-selling game in the series.
I played GTA. I think it's 2 or 1. Over the overhead one. Years ago.
Yeah.
And
1 and 2 are both like that. Yeah.
And I played GTA 5.
And 4.
And 4. Yes, but yeah. It's
because you got to the back job.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't get out. I just couldn't get out. I know. I just couldn't get out.
I'm sure it just was a glitch in the game. We had to do is restart the level and do it again.
And again, and again, and again. Yeah.
You did that, didn't you? Yeah.
I did that so many times. The problem was you had to go all the way back. So with that level, you have to start the drive again. You have to drive to the bank each time. Then you get to the bank and you cut the cutscene, and then you got to shoot your way out. Then you go shoot your way down the street. Then you got to go under the sewers and then come back up. And then as soon as you get into a car or anything, you're 5-star and you have to run away from everything. And then the mission would end. But I only once made it out of the sewer, got into a car, and I drove for ages trying to get rid of the 5 stars, and I just couldn't. Then I ran back into the sewers and then went in the opposite direction. And then I think I still died somehow because I kept running out of ammo.
Do they have pay and spray in GTA 4? And you just drive into one of them and get rid of your 5 stars.
Have what? Sorry, pay. I can't remember now. It's been so long since I played that level. I gave up on the game.
I'll check it out at some point. I do want to replay it eventually, so I will check it out.
Yes.
See. I do remember there being some harder levels. I found them okay, but then when I replayed it before, or someone else was playing it, and I was like, "Oh, it's an easy mission." I did find them quite hard sometimes. I forgot how hard they were. GTA 5 is definitely the more honed controls, and easier game to play in that way.
Oh yeah, definitely. So much easier.
And it's the same with San Andreas compared to the older games on the console. It's the top of the game for controls. Even easier to control than GTA 4.
Oh, maybe I'll have to play that.
But it's not as good as GTA 5 controls.
No,
but, yeah.
then it's not worth it.
Oh, well, I was just tricking you anyway, but yeah. No, it's true. It is true, but yeah, it's not going to be that great for you still. But I do think you still need to play that game. I recommend that game to anyone. You can play it on PS4, PS3, PS2, Xbox, whatever you've got, PC.
Cool.
Okay.
So we're done. How do they contact us?
Look in the description below. Simple.
Thanks for
We've
listening.
Twitter,
However
we've got everything.
however you heard this, tell a friend, subscribe, download it for someone else. When I was watching the Jimbo show on South Park, they did say that they doubled their audience. So they originally had 6 and they went up to 12. So if everyone just told one friend or an enemy, doesn't have to be a friend, we would double our audience. The same
Tell
manner.
an enemy. If you really don't like the show, tell all your enemies.
Look,
Just
check out this
to watch it.
podcast. Yes. So we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. All the handles are below. But yes, thanks for listening. Subscribe, put a 5-star review on, and then just later the show, and we will improve it for the next one. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the feedback.
Right, bye.
Bye.
No, it's me that's talking about it.
Brilliant. My Guy Reviews, the podcast